Mark, and as always, I'm delighted to be in Charleston. I appreciate the introduction. If my father were here, he'd be impressed. If my mother were here, she would actually believe it. It's nice to get a positive introduction. I'm going to try to be reasonably brief today and talk about what works. Because what we're really about here isn't just charter schools or not charter schools, vouchers or not vouchers. What we're trying to do is rapidly improve the performance of students in our educational system. By rapidly, I mean this year. I don't mean a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan. In fact, I've reached the age where I don't have time for a 5-year plan. I don't even buy green bananas anymore. The important thing, though, is that we know what to do and how to do it in terms of improving those things that are important in education. I'm going to cite some examples for you. But I want to start with a non-education example. And I'm delighted, by the way, to be here with our good friend Jim Schaefer from the Public Policy Foundation, who has done more quietly for West Virginia than most people have done loudly over the last several years. And I'm delighted, too, to be a part of a senior fellow in the Government Policy Research Center at West Liberty University, where we've not only been training educators for over 150 years, but we're having some extremely positive impact on the region, and not just in West Virginia. Charles Lindbergh, who's a very interesting character in American history, played a role in helping win World War II that not too many people know about. He actually flew over 50 combat missions in the Southwest Pacific. And at the time he did that, the Southwest Pacific was seemingly larger than it is now. And a major problem they had was getting aircraft to carry out missions because of these yawning distances. He went there and flew F-4U Corsairs in P-38 Lightnings, which at the time were sort of the YF-22s of their day. One of the difficulties they had was that they could not escort bombers over long missions because they didn't have sufficient range. Lindbergh was able to increase the range of the P-38 fighter by about 1,000 miles with no additional fuel capacity, with no change to the equipment, simply by carefully and assiduously operating the equipment in its most efficient manner, and he trained people to do that. That's a position we're in, I believe, with public schools today. We're in a position where we're not going to be able to radically change what we do. If we'd been able to do that, we would have done it. We don't have additional money. Public is tapped out in terms of taxes, particularly property taxes, in pumping new money into schools, and I don't think new money is the answer. And in fact, in many cases, a significant budget cut actually improves educational performance. I may talk more about that in a minute. Right now, we need to get things done in a hurry, and not just in a slapshod way, but in a way that works, and I'll talk about that, and invite you, by the way, in case I forget later, to come and visit Woodland Hills School District in first-ring suburb Pittsburgh. 11 boroughs, 1 township, 11 chiefs of police, a school district whose population among the student body is, I like to say, about 70% black and about 80% poor. And those, by the way, are the 2 biggest markers for educational failure or non-attainment in our society. And we're heading into a time when, right now, 45% of the student body in the United States is non-white. And if you look at that as a marker for educational struggling, if you will, that does not portend well. Right now, 32% of our college-bound students are ready to go to college academically. The other 2/3 have to take remediation. You all know more about that than I probably do. Nationwide, 35% of our kids are illiterate grade by grade by grade. That includes college. So what we're looking at is a general failure of literacy in the United States. We also know that our highest performing kids perform as high or higher than anybody else in the world. So I can go into most areas and look at kids who are not poor and who are white and find that they're going to do exceptionally well. If we want them to do even better, we know what works. One of the things that I find charter schools helpful with, by the way, is some innovation and demonstration of leading-edge technologies and methodologies that may not be in place elsewhere. And I'll come back to that again. One of the most important things we need to do is go to year-round learning. We need to do what Lindbergh did, take a look at our schools and determine what it is we need to do better and look at how we can do it better with no new equipment, no new money, and with existing personnel. And this can be done quickly. In Woodland Hills, we took a program that where 9 buildings, there were 9 buildings in that 4,500 student school district, and all 9 buildings were in academic difficulty. Only one made annual yearly progress, AYP, for those of you who were No Child Left Behind devotees. And in 1 year, we moved to 7 of the 9 buildings meeting AYP. The other 2 missed it by 1 and 2 indicators, 19 out of 21, 20 out of 21 achievement indicators, respectively. Now, we did not have new or additional money. We didn't go out and get a group of new students, and we didn't get a group of new teachers. In fact, we're one of the most heavily union-driven teacher states in the country, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. What we did was increase time on task, the critical variable in getting students to learn. And the way we increased time on task was to immediately audit what we were doing every day in school and stop doing those things that were non-essential. If you go look at football coaches in most school districts, they do those things that are essential to winning. They don't do other things. They have a limited amount of time, a finite amount of time, and they chart and measure everything they do. Everything they do is meant to improve performance, and they evaluate it not week by week or month by month, but play by play. I just went to a couple 7-on-7 sessions and kids' behaviors in 7-on-7 football sessions in 90+ degree weather where they're out there killing themselves were being charted on a play-by-play basis, and that's what we did at Woodland Hills. We also took a lesson from charter schools, and that's what charter schools are supposed to do, provide lessons for us. We put in a Woodland Hills Academy, a K-6 academy with a longer school day, longer school year, more time on task. We added Spanish to the curriculum for everybody. We selected the teachers from among our current teaching staff. We opened that last August, 11 months ago, in what had been a closed junior high in Turtle Creek, Pennsylvania, home of our 12,000-seat football stadium, by the way. We believe in doing a lot of things well. Not only did our football team win 13 games last year after winning only 3 games each year for the prior 3 years, not only did 7 of our 9 schools make AYP, this year we took this randomly selected group of students from a 70% black, 80-some% poor student body with the largest class sizes in our district, using teachers who'd been there before, and we had the biggest gain in mathematics and literacy in the state of Pennsylvania, 500+ school districts plus charter schools. This year, 86% of those kids, after about 8 to 9 months in the curriculum, when we did the testing in the spring, scored proficient or advanced at an 86% level in mathematics. 86%. That's the good news. The bad news is that mathematics is less important than overall literacy, and our literacy rate is only 70%. And we expect to work harder at that. Kids don't fail to go to college because they can't do math very well. They fail to go or finish because they can't read very well, because you have to read to learn. So it's important that we look at the overall notion of school improvement and fitting some charter and charter-like schools into that situation. Now, we also have charter schools in our district that have been there for 5 years.